Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Isabel Rambob, the Director of International Collaborative Education at Abayomi Academy and the founder of Rambob Training Services. I'm also a dentist, educator, speaker, soft skills coach, and consultant. I'd like to pose a question to you. Can creative thinking boost your well being and happiness? Do you see yourself as a creative person? I didn't used to see myself as a creative person, although people who know me keep calling me creative. My family, my closest friends, my students, my patients, my colleagues, my clients. And then I came across this definition for creativity that I really like by neuroscientist Dr. Tara Swart. And she says, creativity is not the traditional view of being good at art or full of new ideas, but is the ability to shape our own brain by what we're exposed to, designing our own future through proactive choice. What a powerful definition for creativity. And she continues, a creative brain is the one that can put ideas to use in an unexpected way using contrasting combinations of thoughts to foster new ones. Well, I like to do things differently and I like to explore new approaches to well established methods to question the status quo, although sometimes I get in trouble for that, but I think it's good trouble. And recently, I have developed a key interest in creative thinking and how it can impact one's well being and happiness. Well, what is creative thinking? Simply put, is the ability to consider something in a new way. According to Roger Beatty, who studies the cognitive neuroscience of creative thinking, there are three distinct brain networks involved in creative thinking. The default network, which is related to brainstorming, daydreaming, the executive control network, which is activated when a person needs to focus, and the salient network, which is known for detecting environmental stimuli and switching between the executive and default brain networks. Is a synchrony between this system that seems to be important for creative thinking, which is the ability to consider something in a new way. Needless to say, we have been forced to consider everything, and I mean everything, in a new light due to the COVID-19 pandemic. I have been giving a lot of talks during this time, and I have been asking my audience the following question. What is the first word that comes to your mind when you think about COVID-19? It is a pretty diverse audience. I have been speaking to people in Brazil, Saudi Arabia, across the United States, and the most common words that I have been hearing from them are fear, anxiety, concern, worry. They feel overwhelmed. You must agree with me. These are not words that typically would put you in a positive frame of mind. So I'm asking you now, what is the first word that comes to your mind when you think about COVID 19? How has this word impacted your well being and happiness? Which brings us to reflect on the levels of stress we are experiencing due to this pandemic. But what is stress? Stress is a psychological and physical process that occurs when a person is faced with a demand that is perceived to exceed the resource available to respond to it effectively. When we are not under stress, we are able to approximately process 7 messages at a time. When we're under stress, we're only able to process 3 messages at a time. Stress also can impact our ability to decode nonverbal communication cues and our ability to recognize our own and others' emotions. When we are under chronic stress, we go into a survival mode. When we are under survival mode, we cannot afford to try different things, new approaches, new ideas. We must stick to predictable outcomes in order to survive. Creativity and creative thinking can help us to cope with stress, therefore, help us to maintain our well being and happiness. and how creativity can do that. Because creativity gives us the power of interpretation. Psychologist Dr. Mihai Csikszentmihalyi, who recognized and named the psychological process of flow, which is the highly focused mental state, beautifully said, the joy we get from living ultimately depends directly on how the mind filters and interprets everyday experiences. I would argue that creative thinking gives us resourcefulness to make us feel confident that we're able to come up with solutions during difficult times as the one we are living now. We all know how stress can impact our well being and happiness. Stress is a psychological and physical process that occurs when a person is faced with a demand that is perceived to exceed the resources available to respond to it effectively. Considering that creative thinking can help us to reduce stress, consequently, creative thinking can help us to improve our well being and happiness. Furthermore, the founder of the Center for Healthy Minds, Dr. Richard Davidson, known for his groundbreaking studies in the emotions in the brain, according to his studies, there are four areas of mental training that can significantly improve our well being, and they are resilience, outlook, awareness, and generosity. Psychologist Dr. Rick Hanson stated that we can rewire our brains for lasting happiness. Creative thinking can create neural pathways for well being and happiness. How can you improve your creative thinking skills? I have developed a growth model for creative thinking. First of all, you must ground yourself. Be present, identify, recognize, and know how to manage your emotions. Establish a daily mindfulness practice routine that suits your lifestyle. Rethink your approach. Ask new questions, explore new solutions, reconsider old answers. Optimize the flow of ideas using mind mapping, flowchart. Start a creativity journal. Work your ideas out of your comfort zone. Be bold, be adventurous. Turn off negative self talk. Let your ideas flow freely. And last but not least, honor your authenticity and personal needs. How can we bring creative thinking to our schools, our organizations, our homes, our cities, our countries to promote the well being and happiness of our global community? Think about it.